I see too much of my brothers coming out of the mosque and coming out and then wrapping it up. I see too much of guys going into the church, then coming out of the church and then wrapping it up. And I say to myself, why are they wrapping it up? You can't serve God and then after come out and then be wrapping it up, my brother. It's like holding God in one hand and holding the enemy in the other hand. You're wrapping it up, you're serving it up, you're shipping it up, you're wrapping it up. You can't be doing that, my brother. You know what I'm saying? It's either God or the highway. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder to myself sometimes, what are they praying for when they're in the mosque? What are they praying for when they're in the church? Are they praying for God to make them and for God to give them a way so that they can multiply their drugs? Or are they praying for God to forgive them for selling their drugs? But all I know is when they come out, they're wrapping it up, my brother. They're wrapping it up. This Christmas, people are wrapping it up. Young men are wrapping it up. They're wrapping up the heroin. They're wrapping up the crack cocaine. They're wrapping it up. They're wrapping up the weed. They're wrapping it up. But they're going into the church and praying to God, you know. And then they're going into the mosque and they're praying. They're praising Allah. But as soon as they come out of the mosque, as soon as they come out of the church, they're wrapping it up, my brother. You cannot serve two. You cannot serve two. I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. But the only prayers you can pray to God if you're in that situation is that God, show me a different way. God, change my life around. But for God to change your life around, you got to stop wrapping it up, my brother. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. You have to stop wrapping it up. Because wrapping it up is wrapping your life up. Wrapping it up is serving the enemy. If you serve the enemy, you're wrapping it up. You know, and he will wrap you up one day. Some guys are getting wrapped up in the box and not seeing another day. Some guys are getting wrapped up and locked up away in prison and not seeing another day. You can't wrap it up and expect that God is going to save your day. He says, surrender all to him. Surrender all your bad ways. Surrender all your crooked ways. Surrender all to him. And once you surrender all to him, he will come into your life and change your life around. But you have to make that choice. You have to say, God, I surrender everything to you. It's just like the time before Nathan Brand got saved. I was in my house, you know, and normally I have my dogs with me. I have my crew with me in the house, and normally we're smoking the reefer and we're drinking heavily, you know. But that particular day, my friends had to go. One had to go to his girlfriend because his girlfriend was pregnant at the time. The other one said he's going home, and I realized I found myself in my house all alone. Not saying I was scared to be all alone, but normally I'm used to having friends around me. You know what I'm saying? But that particular day, that particular night, yes, God came to me. God came to me and said, stop doing what you're doing. It's time to serve me. You know what I'm saying? And I was there trying to bargain with God. You see, I'm not going to water down my testimony. No. You see, some Christians have been telling me to water down my testimony. It's too much, Nathan. It's too much. People ain't going to understand that. People ain't going to believe that that was God who came into your life. But I'm telling you that God comes to anyone. Yes, God will come to the man who's done so much wrong in his life and give him the message of saying, stop doing what you're doing. It's time to follow me. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. Yes, yes, yes. But you see, I was wrapping it up. Ah, my brother, I was wrapping it up, making that quick money, wrapping it up. But the time when God came to me, you see, God doesn't come to you when you want Him to come to you all the time. But when He moves, yes, yes, yes. When the Spirit of God moves around you, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's not time to bargain with God. I was there in my room, in my flat, trying to bargain with God and said, God, I just made the investment to double, to triple my money. Can you come back tomorrow? Can you come back the next day? But God said to me, bright and clear, that there won't be a next day. I am passing through, and I happen to stop right next to you. And this is my message to you. I am the living God. And it's time to stop wrapping it up, shipping it up. Whatever you're doing, stop it now and serve me. Come and serve me. And you know, me, I was a hard headed kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? A hard headed kind of guy. So God left me evidence. God will leave you evidence before you destroy your life. And God left me an evidence to say, to show, He showed me real people in my life. Real people, because you see, when God came to me, I could have said it was a dream. Ah, yes, yes, yes. I could have denied it. I said, you know, it was just a bad dream. Just a bad dream. But how can you say it's just a bad dream then when God told you a message, it was just you and God in that room, you and God in that flat, and God to you a direct message to you. There's no one else with you, just you and God. And then the next morning, somebody say this with me, the next morning, you wake up, you're going to your local shop because Nathan Brown likes to eat his Rice Krispies in the morning. You know what I'm saying? But I run out of milk, my friend. So I'm going to the local shop. And as I'm going to the local shop, there's 10 to 15 people on the other side of the road looking at me, shouting at me like they want to get my attention. They want to speak to me, urging to cross the road very quickly, and there's traffic that's going past. But as they get on the other side of the road, they run up to me and they said to me they heard. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. They said they heard. And I said, you heard? And I said, yes, we heard. And I said, what did you hear? Because I don't know what you're talking about. They said the exact same thing. What God told me what would happen to me if I didn't surrender and give it up now. They told me the exact words. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, are you going to tell me that was a dream? Are you going to tell me that I was dreaming that day when that happened to me? Huh? Is that what you're going to tell me? It could have been a dream if God just came in a message and told me that, and I wake up in the next morning and no one ever confirmed what God said to me. But if you got 15 people, a crowd of people running up to you and saying the exact same thing that God told you the night before, what would happen to you if you don't surrender now and follow the living God, you can't tell me that's a dream, my friend. You can't tell me that's a dream. You know what I'm saying? So I surrendered all. Listen, I surrendered all, man. You know the embarrassment of surrendering all? Let me tell you the embarrassment I had to go through. I had 14 pair of trainers. Nike Air Bubbles. The least money I paid for my trainers was £130. Yeah, all the latest trainers. I used to wear different trainers every day. I used to wear Moschino, Versace every day, click suits, Clark booties, diamond socks every day. I used to have money in my pocket every day. Yeah, but when I surrendered it all to God, guess what happened to me? I was walking around on the streets with holes in my trainers, my friend. Holes in my trainers. And if you didn't know me those days, you would say, even if you know me today, You will say Nathan Brown walking around with holes in his trainers. That ain't like him. He always looks sharp. You know what I'm saying? He always got his fresh haircut. He always looks sharp. But yes, I was walking around with holes in my trainers. I had 2 cars. Yeah. I sold my cars. I ended up with none cars, walking around the streets with no cars, you know what I'm saying? With holes in my trainers, you know what I'm saying? Just spending one night with the king. I said I was spending one night with the king. All you need to do is spend one night with the king. Glory to God. That's all you need to do, my friend. And he will give you a message that will change all your plans, that will change your life forever, that will terminate the contract that you had with the enemy. Yes, because you see, some of us has written a contract, signed a contract with the enemy, and we don't even know that we've done it. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. You signed the contract with the enemy, and you don't even know that you've done it. You're walking around with the enemy, and you don't even know you're walking with him. And if you didn't know what the enemy was about, the enemy is designed to come to kill and destroy. Yes, he's like a thief in the night. He has no good for your interests. Even though he might give you the diamonds, even though he might give you the expensive cars, the property and cash and money underneath your bed. You know what I'm saying? My friend, one of my friends, he got caught with how much was it? 70 grand, 70,000 pounds in cash underneath his bed. You know what I'm saying? 70,000 pounds. And he had properties. He bought houses and put it in his mother's name. And his mother supported him in what he was doing. I'm telling you, mothers, don't support your sons in them wrapping it up, my friend. Don't do that, mothers. No. You mothers, you know better than that. You're from the older generation. Stand firm as a mother. Stand firm as right. Stand firm as right in your son or daughter's life. Don't switch because they switch. No. Don't switch because your son is starting to buy you Louis Vuitton and all this kind of Versace and Moschino. You're a big woman, mother. You're a big woman, and you're wearing Louis Vuitton and you're wearing Versace. No. Find your place as a mother. Find your place as a mother, and a mother supposed to say, son, what you're doing is wrong. There's a man called God, Jehovah, and he's looking down on you, son, and you are doing wrong in his eyes. Surrender your ways, son. I don't care what money you're giving me. I don't care what handbags you're buying me, Versace or Louis Vuitton. I don't care. I don't want that for you. I don't want that from you, because you're buying it with dirty money. You're buying it with dirty money. And even though I need the money, but I don't need dirty money. That's how mothers supposed to stand strong. You see, a lot of my friends, their mothers used to like the money coming in, so they kind of turn a blind eye for what their sons was doing. You know what I'm saying? One guy who I didn't know, he used to go out there and rob people all the time. And there was one time, there's a particular guy who used to rob all the time. He was so used to robbing this guy had none challenge to him. This guy was not nowhere near strong to him. This guy was like a wimp to him, like a little soft pussycat to him. Do you know what I'm saying? So when he went to rob this guy, he never put up no guard, because he knows he can rob him easily. He robbed him yesterday, he robbed him the day before. He can rob him easily. You know what I'm saying? And he said, rob the guy and bring the money home to his mum, give his mum a couple £100. You know what I'm saying? And his mum used to turn a blind eye to it. When the mother should have said, listen, son, what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is not in God's eyes. What you're doing is a sin. It's wrong, son. Do not do it. Son, I don't want this money from you. This money is dirty money. Why don't you work and earn good money, and then I will take the money from you. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be blessed money. But the mother took the money because she wanted to buy Louis Vuitton and she wanted to buy Versace. You know what I'm saying? This particular guy who he used to rob every day, every time, one time, they set a plan for the guy who used to rob him. Yes, sir. Yes. So the guy's coming up to him like as normal. He robbed him yesterday. He robbed him the day before. He robbed him last week, and he just robs him and robs him and robs him. But maybe overnight, the guy who used to get robbed, the victim, he said in his mind, or his friend must have put something in his mind and said that you should not take this no more. Yes, 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 yes. That's why I don't underrate no guy. I don't underrate the guy who you call a fool. I don't underrate the guy who you think is a sissy. I don't underrate these guys because from a sissy he could turn into a bad man. From a pussycat he could turn into a bad man. And this is what happened when the guy came to rob him. The victim had the knife behind his back. I remember, like I said, the guy, he robbed him all the time, and he don't need to put his guard up. He used to rob other people as well, but this one here was just like an easy rob. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna do me nothing. He won't tell the police on me. I can rob him anytime. So anyway, when he came up to the guy this time, the guy had a knife behind his back. And as he came close to the guy took out the knife and pushed it right in his stomach. I don't know if you hear what I'm saying. Right in his stomach. And guess what happened? Yes, he died. He died. He died. He died. He died. Yes, 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 yes. You see, when you're dealing with the enemy, you see, death is always in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Death is always close to you. But when you deal with God, yes, 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 death have no defeat over you. Death cannot take you. Only God can take you. You see, when God takes you, it's not called death. It's called hallelujah. Praise God. I'm going to heaven, sitting around the Father and celebrating. You see, death is not a bad thing if you know God. If you know God, death is not a bad thing. It's just your time to go to the gates of paradise. Do you know what I'm saying? But when you don't know God and you're serving the enemy, when it comes to the time of death, that's the time when you need to be worried. Because they have a place called hell and a place called burn in the living fire. I don't know hear what I'm saying to you today. You know what I'm saying? That's when you have to be careful. So my brothers, my Muslim brothers, I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Christian, but you know what I'm saying? I have Muslim brothers. I mean them talk. And we never make our gods get in between us. We show love as brothers. But my brothers as Muslims, you can't be going into the mosque, praying to Allah, serving Allah, then coming out the mosque and wrapping it up, my brother. You can't be doing that. My brothers who's talking and praising Jesus Christ, you can't be going into the church, you know what I'm saying, praising God, and then coming out the church and then wrapping it up, my brother. You can't be doing that. You cannot serve two. You cannot serve two. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know who this video is for, but I'm here to tell you that I've been there, I've done it, and it doesn't work. You cannot serve two. You serve one, and his name is Jesus. You serve one, my friend. You know what I'm saying? God said surrender all, and he will come into your life and change your life around. And believe me, I'm a living testimony. I'm a living testimony, my friend. I could tell you stories and stories and stories after stories of how I used to be in the streets called London. But when you look at me now, you will never believe that I was the same man then. If you see my life how I was then, you will never believe that I am the same man when I was then. But you see, when you serve God and when you admit that God is your Lord and Savior, the old you dies. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. The old you, he dies. He's no longer. So the old me did die. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer the same how I used to be before. When I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ, the old me died. Yes, 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 yes. The old me died. And now this is the new me. Serving God, not wrapping it up. You know what I'm saying? Serving God. you know, and I'm praying for my brothers out there because some of them, they're in the mosque for 4 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, what are they doing in the mosque? Are they asking Allah to protect them while they're selling their drugs? Because let's face it, they're selling their drugs, they're selling heroin. You know what I'm saying? And crack cocaine. Or are they praying to God and to Allah and saying, Allah, please forgive me of my sins. Help me change my ways. And when they're in the church, what are they doing? Are they praying to Jesus Christ and saying, Jesus, help me from stop selling drugs? Or are they praying to Jesus and saying, yeah, God, you know I'm selling drugs. Just protect me while I sell my drugs. I know some mans are going out there and they're speaking to God and saying, protect me while I sell my drugs. But I'm here to tell you that there's no protection from Jesus when you're selling your drugs. No, 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 no. He never leaves you. Let me put it this way, he never leaves you. I'm a witness for this. He never leaves you. But what he does, he gives you directions. He gives you orders to leave what you are doing. And when he gives you that direction and gives you that order to leave what you are doing, and you decide not to leave what you're doing, then he steps away and anything can come into your life like a flood. You know what I'm saying? Anything. I can tell you guys who get 10 years. I can tell you guys who got 20 years. There's a time when God came into those same guys' life and said, stop doing what you're doing. But they never listened. And they thought they could still pray to God and ask God for protection. It doesn't work like that, my friend. God is pure. God deals with pureness. God will deal with the criminal. God will deal with the crook. God will deal with the murderer. But he would say, surrender your ways. And if you don't surrender your ways, then he will leave you on your own. And then the enemy will flood into your life and everything will go wrong. Everything. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of making so much money? Like I said, my friend had £70,000 in cash underneath his bed. Underneath his bed. Buying his mum Versace bags, buying houses in his mum's name because he weren't employed. So he couldn't put it in his name. You know what I'm saying? But he had cash. 100 grand, 200 grand. And he's buying houses and houses, making so much money. But when the police came to his house and raid his house and find all the drugs and find all the money underneath his bed, he was put in prison. And I think he got 10 years. And they took all the houses, all the cash, everything what he earned. They took it away from him because they said it was drug money, wrapped up money. And now he has nothing, set for 10 years. Then he comes out of prison. What is he going to have to his name? What is he going to do? He can't get a job because he's got a criminal record. It's going to be harder for him to get a job. So he goes back doing the same thing. Then he gets catch again. Then he gets a 20 years. It's a life of, you won't win in that life. There ain't no drug dealer who I know who has won the game. And if there is, there's only one or two. But look how much of many people are doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's a losing game. So surrender all, my brother. Surrender all. God bless you.